as well. And again, none of you are parked across the street in the angled parking. You will get a ticket, so please find your way to the C box. Good afternoon, fans, and welcome to Viking Field here with the GNAC 4-game series. Western Oregon against Western Washington about to begin. We've got rain in the forecast, so we're going to speed things up a little bit. Western Washington's going to take the field. We'll play the national anthem, and then we'll get game one going here shortly. Starting lineups for both teams will be announced as they come to the offensive side of the plate. I'll read them off pretty fast for those scoring at home. But Western Washington will take the field. We'll play the national anthem, and then we'll play ball. Fans, at this time, we ask that you all please rise if able and direct your attention to the flag in right field for the playing of our national anthem. Let's go ball. Umpire Crew for today's first game with this GNAC doubleheader. Call Heaton out of Alan Moore. First base, Josh Francis at third base. play for Western Washington in this opening game of doubleheader. In the circle, a sophomore from Big Harbor, Allie Kimball. And catching for the Vikings, senior from Colotus, number 38, Emma Andrew Ramirez. Leading off the top of the first inning for the Wolves, the left fielder number 21, Victoria Zimmerman. Number 3, Maria Gregorio. The second baseman, number 220. The third baseman, number 20, Isabel Lewis. Oh, Western Oregon at the top of the first inning. No runs, one hit, no errors, and one runner left on base.
It's the bottom half of the first inning here at Viking Field. Western Oregon and Western Washington University taking on each other in this softball matchup. First of a doubleheader today, and we're playing here on Thursday. You might have known that this series was scheduled to go Friday, Saturday, but with the weather incoming this weekend, we've decided to move the games up one day. So we have a Thursday doubleheader here today, and tomorrow 2 more games between the Wolves and the Vikings. Top of the first inning was scoreless for Western Oregon, and now it's Malia Andrews, the leadoff batter for the Vikings. The lefty third baseman sees the first pitch on the low outside corner for ball number 1. Kennedy Abbas for Western Oregon gets the start today in the circle. She'll go toe-to-toe against Allie Kimball, you saw in that first inning for Western Washington. The 0-1 pitch to Andrews goes low and inside. That one is for a ball. First pitch was actually called a strike. No, excuse me, it was a ball. Scoreboard read 1-1, but umpire's count says 2-0. Andrews in a 2-0 green light count here. Here comes the pitch from Abbas. Down the middle for a strike, and the patient Malia Andrews sitting at the dish was known for her ability to get on base last season. Of course, was part of the magical run that this Vikings team went on, and right now Western Washington is ranked number 11th in the top 25 NCAA Division II poll. A 2-1 from Abbas is low and away. It's a 3-1 count to the leadoff bat, Andrews. Vikings right now in the season, 14-7 overall. They're 2-2 in conference play. They split their first conference games against St. Martin's. Western Oregon right now undefeated in the conference, 4-0. They swept Central Washington in a doubleheader last week, as Western Oregon is going to take a second here in the circle to chat things over. A 3-1 count right now to Andrews to start her appearance, and Abbas is behind her first batter. Andrews is not an easy batter to get out, of course. Has racked up the best batting average in the conference and in the top 25 for batting average entering this game in the entire country. But Andrews overall also a great ability to draw the walk. And a 3-1 from Abbas comes to her. Andrews swings at this one and takes off the glove. Catcher's interference will be the call, and Andrews will get first base. So she didn't do it via the hit or the walk, but instead the interference puts her on first. And a leadoff man is aboard for Western Washington. Batting second for the Vikings is going to be Connie Patoy. Patoy playing second base, where she's made a career for the Vikings. We'll see if Abbas can find the strike zone now against the right-handed bat of Patoy. She shows bunt, pulls it back off the pitch. A throw down to first. Andrews slides back in safely to the bag. Abbas unable to find the strike zone and gets behind Connie Patoy. Patoy was one of five players last season who played in 64 games for the Vikings. That was all 64 games Western Washington played in on their run to the NCAA National Title Series against UT Tyler. 2-0 as Abbas is far behind another batter again. Andrews reached on the catcher's interference in a 3-1 count. And Patoy at the dish, 2-0 lead on her. Here's the pitch. Patoy swings, hits it up the middle. That'll get into the grass, and it's a base hit single for Connie Patoy. Runners first and second for the Vikings with no outs. Last time that the Vikings saw the Wolves was earlier this season. They played in a series of non-conference games. There was 3 games played in Monmouth. Vikings swept the Wolves in those contests, and it wasn't necessarily close. Over the 3 wins that the Vikings had over the Wolves, it was a 34-9 total outscoring job by the Vikings. 2 on already in this first inning as Haley Rath takes ball number 1. Vikings are not a team that is going to chase. They are last in the conference in strikeouts. They have a great ability to draw walks. A 1-0 with 2 on, no outs. Rath swings, hits it down the third base line. That pops out of the glove, and now the bases are going to be juiced on what likely will go down as an error on Western Oregon. That is going to go on Isabel Lewis. Unable to get the glove there on the hot corner, and Haley Rath is on first. Connie Patoy is on second. Malia Andrews on third, and who else but Emma Andrzejewski Ramirez, and this could get dangerous. We know the power that Andrzejewski Ramirez has. We've seen it here a whole lot in a Vikings uniform. This is her second season with Western Washington. The catcher has him juiced. Looking to do damage already in the first inning against Abbas and the Wolves. Another pitch outside. It's a 2-0 count. Abbas cannot get ahead of these Vikings batters, and it has costed her so far throughout this season. Right now in this game, it's looking to catch her once again. Her ability to try and get ahead. She misses, and it's now a 3-0 count to Andrzejewski Ramirez. Chance to do damage. 3-0. You have a green light, but a walk also scores for the Vikings. We'll see what the pitch does. She'll take it for a strike inside. Andrzejewski Ramirez was trying to walk for the hit and score a run, but now instead a 3-1 count. Abbas Bases loaded. Andrews reached on a catcher's interference. Batoy followed that up with a single. Rath reached on the error. That one's rolled over to the shortstop. She's going to try and tag Batoy. She does. Gets an out. A throw to first is in time, so a double play. But a run comes in to score for Western Washington. Heads up play by the shortstop to get the tag out and then throw to first and get Andrew Jeske Ramirez in time. But the Vikings do go ahead 1-0 against Western Oregon. 2 outs on the board.
Number 19, Olivia Matlock.
So 2 outs for Olivia Matlock in a Western Washington University jersey this season after playing with St. Martin's. Switches to the rival Western and sees the first pitch for a ball 1. 2 outs, runner on second, 1-0 lead for Western Washington. It was a fielder's choice RBI for Andrew Jeske Ramirez that gave the Vikings the lead. Matlock looking to do damage. It'll be a ball. And another 2-0 count. Kennedy Abbas in the circle struggling with her command right now for Western Oregon. So instead of the error at third base, it went down as a hit for Haley Rath, so 2 hits in the inning as Matlock fouls it away. 2-1 count with 2 outs. Matlock back into the box, 2-1 count. 2 outs with Rath on second. Here's Abbas's pitch. Matlock fouls it away towards the opposing dugout. And it's strike 2. Abbas would be lucky to get out of this inning with just 1 allowed. He had the bases loaded with 0 outs for Western Washington. Andrew Jeske Ramirez hits into that unconventional double play. It's a true 6-3 double play on a tag out on the runner running to third. 2-2. Abbas delivers the pitch to Matlock. She just fouls it away, battling through. Will stay in her 2-2 count and extend the bottom of the first. Matlock has already had a nice start to her Vikings career. Was the GNAC Player of the Week during Week 4 of the conference season. Another 2-2 to her. Matlock takes the pitch outside, and we are full. 3-2 count. First base is open for Abbas with Paristella Magor on deck. Here's her pitch and a 3-2, and it's a swing and a miss strikeout. Abbas escapes the first with just 1 run allowed after loading the bases with no outs. Vikings will take a 1-0 lead, and at the top of the second here at Vikings Field. Top of the second inning at Viking Field, Western Oregon versus Western Washington here in a GNAC matchup. Second series for each team in a GNAC conference play. Both of these teams played plenty of non-conference games against their similar conference opponents as just a couple of warm-up games to see their competition early. But now we officially are counting these games in the conference record. Western Oregon 4-0 in the GNAC. Western Washington 2-2. A 1-0 lead for the Vikings. And the leadoff bat for Western Oregon at the plate. Allie Kimball delivers a low pitch 1 for ball number 1. At the plate is the shortstop, Sydney Conklin. She made that nice double play in the bottom of the first inning that helped her pitcher out to escape with just 1 run allowed. Allie Kimball in the circle. Behind 1-0, ties it up 1-1. Strike from Kimball, the right-handed pitcher in her sophomore season. Allie Kimball this year a 3.10 ERA with a 5-2 record. She's made now 11 starts, including this game. She's gone the distance twice. She's pitched a total of 38 innings, just over that. Her 1-1 is a high pitch for ball number 2. Sydney Conklin trying to start it off. She's in the 5 hole for Western Oregon, batting .286 on the year, making just her 10th start for the Wolves. She's ahead 2-1 as Kimball comes home with the pitch and another high delivery. A 3-1 count to the leadoff batter. Western Oregon in the top of the first inning tallied just 1 hit on the base hit from Kate Roning. They've got to Kimball that lone time for a base runner. Here's a 3-1. It's a strike and it's a full count. Kimball has allowed just 8 walks this season to 23 strikeouts. And it's a full count, looking for a result here. Sydney Conklin trying to get what would be just her 9th base hit of the season. The pitch goes high and it's a walk. Conklin will do her job as the leadoff batter and reach first. The designated player will follow her in Brooklyn Schneid.
Number 1, Brooklyn Schneid.
Schneid batting just 200 in her 14th start. Runner on first with no outs for the Western Oregon Wolves. Western Oregon right now 5 straight wins. They had the 4 against Central Washington and 1 non-conference win right before then. Swing and a miss from Schneid. Kimball is ahead 0-1. Wolves overall are 10-13. They were picked to finish 5th in the GNAC preseason poll. Here's Kimball in an 0-1, bunt being shown. She pops it straight back up to Kimball. She'll turn and throw to first, but diving back safely is Conklin. It will be 1 out on a nice grab by Allie Kimball. One attempt from Schneid fails. It'll bring up Lexi Carlos. Her first baseman in her senior season with Western Oregon. Carlos last year was an honorable mention on the All-GNAC teams. Batting 7th today for the Wolves. Strike 1 as Kimball fires it down the middle. Carlos this season, .240 hitter, making her 22nd start of the year for Western Oregon. 0-1 off the butt of the bat, and a foul tip for strike 2. Both these teams played extensive starts to their season throughout the month of February and even the start of March. We're on the road a whole lot. We haven't seen Western Washington at home too much. They had their home opener just a couple weeks ago. It was a non-conference series against Simon Fraser. Vikings played a doubleheader against the Red Leafs. Lost the first game and then came back with a 7-1 victory. First time we've seen Western Oregon here at home against the Vikings. 1-2 the count, runner on first, 1 out for the Wolves. Swung on and hit down the left side, foul towards the third baseman, Malia Andrews. So Lexi Carlos stays in the 1-2 count. Western Oregon went 21-6 last season. They went 9-15 against conference opponents. That finished them 5th out of 7 teams in the GNAC softball standings. Another 1-2, that's taken high. Carlos thought about it for a second off the release, pulled it back, and now a 2-2 count. Carlos 12 hits on the season. 1 has gone for extra bases. He's driven in 4 runs. Runner on first with 1 out to her. The pitch is dropped in for strike number 3, and Kimball sits her down for out number 2.
The catcher, number 32, Emma Cordero.
That'll bring up the catcher, Emma Cordero, the junior catcher. Western Oregon has had to fill a couple of holes from last season in some key positions. Cordero filling that catching position as she fouls off the first pitch. On a late swing, it's strike 1. The Wolves coming into this season lost 3 all-conference selections from last year. You had the newcomer of the year, Mackenzie Collins, who was a pitcher. You had the catcher in Natalie Willoughby, and you also had the shortstop in Bella Valdez. Pitch goes outside for ball number 1. Cordero did not bite at it, and a 1-1. Cordero batting just 179 entering this game. He's making her 14th start behind the dish for the Wolves. Still at first base with 2 outs is Sydney Conklin. Led off this inning with a walk. Teammates have not followed her. Pitch way outside for ball 2. Cordero just 5 hits on the year. 1 drove in a run, and she also went around to score once. And a 2-1 trying to even us in a 1-0 Vikings lead. There's the off speed dropped in there just high, as Kimball changes speeds but still misses the strike zone. It's 3-1. So far through this second inning, the high part of the zone is not there for Kimball. Has missed a couple of times above it. And a 3-1 pitch. Misses. And 2 walks represent the 2 base runners now for Western Oregon, as Cordero draws it. It's just her 3rd walk of the season, and it puts runners on first and second. Cheryl Gilmore and the Vikings going to come out to talk things over with Allie Kimball. A 1-0 lead right now for Western Washington, but 2 runners on with 2 outs in the top of the second. Western Oregon trying to do some damage to counterpunch right back to Western Washington. So far, it has been an uncharacteristic inning for Western Washington's pitching staff and Allie Kimball. Vikings have done a great job this season limiting their walks. They've allowed the least walks in the conference as a pitching staff, mainly between Joey Baker, Allie Kimball, and Kaana Kong. And the dangerous thing about this Western Washington team is last season made that run to the NCAA Division II College World Series, and this season they returned nearly every starter. They lost 2 starters in the field, did not lose a single pitcher that pitched a majority of innings. You lost Hanako Hirai, who pitched under 10 innings last year, but you brought back Kimball, Baker, and Kong out of the bullpen as well. Almost the exact same starting lineup. You just have some holes filled now at first base. You lost Ashley Jacobson, but Olivia Matlock is there now. And you lost the center fielder Taylor Karami. Filling her spot now is Layla Carpenter. Also lost the backup catcher Emily Paulson. Andrew Jeske Ramirez behind the dish for this game. Kimball able to find a strike that time. 1-1 the count, 2 outs. First and second for the Wolves. 1-0 lead for the Vikings. Kimball trying to get out of the inning after allowing 2 free passes to Western Oregon. The 1-1. Outside strike call against Madeline Hommel, the lefty bat. Starting in center field for the Wolves, and she's behind 1-2. 262 batter, sitting just 9th in the order, making her 20th start of the season. A 1-2 with 2 outs. Popped up and back foul by Hommel. Hommel has driven in 5 runs on 11 hits this season, has gone for extra bases twice. Trying to match what Western Washington did. Vikings plated 1 run on a double play that ended up scoring. A 1-2. She took a check at it, took a foul tip into the glove. Andrew Jeske Ramirez couldn't squeeze the foul tip strike 3, so instead, Hommel is given an opportunity to extend her at bat. Stays alive in the 1-2. First and second for Western Oregon. Kimball. Hommel swings, hits it in the air, drifting foul towards the Vikings bullpen and out of play. Western Oregon doing a nice job to rack up the pitch count early here against Allie Kimball. About to throw her 39th pitch. Hasn't even gotten through 2. And a check swing. Check down to third. She did not go, they say. And it will be ball 2. Pitch was high. Hommel wanted it, but pulled back just in the nick of time. And it'll be a 2-2 count. Top of the order batter waiting on deck. A 2-2 pitch just fouled away again by Hummel. She's just sticking her bat out there and touching any pitch that's in the zone. Extending this top of the second inning. The dangerous Victoria Zimmerman waits on deck trying to do damage if Hummel can extend this top of the second inning for the Wolves. Kimball trying to finish it. Here's her 2-out pitch. Swing and a miss. Kimball strikes her out and escapes. Leaves 2 runners stranded for the Wolves. And the Vikings will go to the bottom of the second inning, leading 1-0 over Western Oregon.
Leading off the second inning for Western Washington, your designated player, number 99, Paris Delamagore.
Bottom of the second inning here at Viking Field. Western Washington against Western Oregon in a conference matchup. It's a 1-0 lead for your Vikings. Scored a run in the bottom of the first. Now look to follow that up as Kennedy Abbas had the bases loaded with no outs, but was able to just escape, plating 1 run. Western Washington did, had the help of a double play to get her out of the jam. And now Paris Delamagore leads things off for Western Washington. The sophomore getting the start. It is just her 7th start of the season, and she has struggled at the plate so far. A 130 average, has 3 hits and 23 at-bats, but has shown the power off her bat, finding extra bases in 2 out of her 3 hits this season. First pitch is a ball to Delamagore. She swings and drives this into left field. It'll be a foul ball, though. That one was set to bounce maybe off the wall if she got it in play. Big swing from Delamagore, but just a deep foul ball instead. But she shows there her ability to get a hard hit ball. She was just early on her swing against Kennedy Abbas. The sophomore Abbas in the circle entered this game with a 3.81 ERA, a 5-6 record in 13 appearances this year. 1-1, breaks towards the outside of the plate for ball 2. Abbas, through 68 innings for the Wolves this season, has struck out 39 batters, and opponents are hitting .297 facing off against her. The 2-1, Delamagore does not like, and for good reason. It's ball 3. Carpenter on deck, McKenna Crum in the hole for Western Washington, a 1-0 lead. Delamagore getting the start at the designated player spot today. The 3-1, hard ground ball towards her own dugout, and it's a hard hit strike number 2. Once again, early on her swing against Abbas. This is Delamagore's 3rd season as a Viking, redshirted her first. Played in 4 games last season, getting involved here. Payoff pitch to her, swung on and hit into left center field on the run, and making the catch is the left fielder Victoria Zimmerman. Traveled to her left to grab the first out of the bottom of the second inning. Delamagore goes down on a fly out to left. Layla Carpenter, the center fielder, will follow her. Well, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that we lost Taylor Karami in center field. Taking her spot in the lineup is Carpenter this season, and Layla Carpenter has switched her jersey number to 16, the former number of Karami. So I will try to not mess that up this season. Carpenter, the sophomore, batting .311 through 17 games so far this year. Has 14 hits and 8 walks, which have led to 15 runs scored, as the bottom of the order does a great job getting on base for the Vikings' power hitters at the top of the order. Carpenter, Crum, and Barcombe have all done a great job as that 7, 8, 9 spot for Cheryl Gilmore's lineup, setting up things nicely for when you have the bats like Andrews, Rath, and Andrew Jeske Ramirez coming up after them. The 1-1 pitch is taken by Carpenter. She's ahead 2-1. Carpenter is not new to the starting lineup. She had a good amount of starts last season early on as she hits this on the ground at the second base. It'll be an easy 4-3 ground out. Kate Ronning able to get out number 2 at second base for the Wolves. And that'll bring up McKenna Crum. McKenna Crum is having a nice stretch as of late, coming off a very good game against St. Martin's. In the final game of the 4 played against the Saints, McKenna Crum, in game number 2 of the Saturday doubleheader, hit a grand slam in the 3rd inning of the 2nd game. It was her first collegiate home run. She's played 158 career games, and it finally was her first one that traveled over a fence. Crum played a major role with that grand slam as part of a 15-5 win for Western Washington over the Saints. Abbas delivers the strike, and it's 1-1. Crum, the right fielder for the Vikings, has played in every game so far this season. That continues today. A 1-1 with 2 outs. Crum hits that on a slap down to third. That's gathered and thrown across the diamond for out number 3. Isabel Lewis shuts the Vikings down from third to first, and we'll go to the top of the 3rd inning. A 1-0 lead still for Western Washington.
Game 1 of a 4-game series in GNAC play. Western Washington 1, Western Oregon 0. Leading off the top of the 3rd inning for Western Oregon, the left fielder, number 21, Victoria Zimmerman.
Top of the 3rd inning here at Viking Field. Western Washington against Western Oregon in a conference matchup. For the first time these two teams see each other in a conference game. Allie Kimball in the circle for the Vikings. Scoreless through 2 innings, entering this, but faces the top of the order for Western Oregon. It'll start with the lefty bat of Zimmerman. She takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Victoria Zimmerman, a junior with Western Oregon, .338 average in the leadoff spot. She's played every game so far for Western Oregon. Has done her job. 22 hits, 13 runs scored as the leadoff bat. And another pitch outside. This one a little bit lower, but still out of the strike zone. And a 2-0 count to start things off against Zimmerman. Kimball through 2 innings, through 47 pitches so far in this game, has given up 1 hit and 2 walks, has struck out 3 Wolves. The 2-0 delivery swung on, jammed her up, foul ball traveling towards the dugout of the Vikings. Andrews could not get it off a leap, and it's strike 1. Allie Kimball, in 10 starts this season, has gone the full distance only twice. Last season it was her and Kiona Kong that went back-to-back in most of their pitching appearances. Kong coming out of the bullpen, racking up a program-high saves number in a season. Question is if we'll see that here today. Vikings give themselves a good lead. Kaana Kong is the player that can shut things down, but Allie Kimball is the player that can take you pretty deep into a game. She's able to get into a 2-2 count. Zimmerman still at the dish to lead off bat. Zimmerman, who's at the plate, was a 2024 All GNAC second team selection. A 2-2 to her as she slaps it foul. Was able to fight it off, was leaning over the plate. We'll see how Kimball uses that. Zimmerman had her breakout season last year as a sophomore, batted .336. A 2-2 once again to her. She hits this one on a line to left, straight to the arms and glove of Lexi Barkham. Out number 1 on a line drying to left.
The right fielder, number 3, Aaliyah Gaboriel.
Aaliyah Gaboriel now at the plate. Another lefty bat to face Kimball, showing bunt. With 1 out, no runners on. Andrews playing a little shallow at third base. Gaboriel takes the first pitch for ball 1. At the dish, she's a .288 hitter, has made every start this season. It's been the 1-2 combo between Zimmerman and Gaboriel for the Wolves that has worked in those spots this season. Outside did not catch the zone as Kimball went off speed. Gaboriel, just a sophomore, getting the start in right field for the Wolves in this game. She's a speedy player, and she gets on base. She's stolen 8 times and hasn't been caught. Kimball unable to find the zone against her. Command has not come easy in this game for Allie Kimball so far. It's been behind a whole lot of batters of Western Oregon. Finds herself in a 3-0 count, needing a strike. Gaboriel still showing that bunt, pulls it back, and takes it down the middle for strike 1. Gaboriel got out of the gates hot this year for Western Oregon. She started the season with 9 hits in her first 5 games. And already in this season, she has more hits than all of her last 2. She grounds this to Malia Andrews. Hard throw across the diamond to Matlock, and it's out number 1. Kimball gets the help from her defense to get out number 1 in the top of the 3rd inning. Vikings leading 1-0 over Western Oregon. And at the dish for Western Oregon now, Kate Roning. Roning, the second baseman in her senior season for the Wolves. A .245 hitter. That one popped up into the air straight to second base. It'll be 3 outs. Kimball is able to get out of it easily, and another scoreless frame for Allie Kimball sends us to the bottom of the 3rd. Vikings still leading 1-0.
Leading off the Vikings, the left fielder, number 2, Lexi Barkham.
Bottom of the 3rd inning here in Bellingham, Washington. It's your Western Washington Vikings right now ahead of the Western Oregon Wolves. 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And Lexi Barkham will lead it off. Bottom of the order hitter for the Vikings. 9-1-2 set to come up in this 3rd inning against Kennedy Abbas. Barkham swinging at the first pitch, fouls it away. If you're just tuning in, this is a Thursday game between the Wolves and the Vikings, rescheduled due to weather. Vikings and Wolves will play their doubleheader today and tomorrow. Right now, blue skies on a beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest. as Barkham sees the breaking pitch drop in for strike number 2. Lexi Barkham behind 0-2 now, the 256 batter in her 17th start today. Trying to get on ahead of Malia Andrews on deck. She swings and fouls it straight towards Andrews, who had to duck out of the way. So she battles it off with 2 strikes. Barkham in her final year of eligibility for Western Washington, right now as a graduate student. Has consistently been a great defensive left fielder and a great bottom of the order hitter. Shows streaks at times, but she goes on her try that time, and she will get rung up for a strikeout. Gilmore didn't agree with it. It's pretty similar to the one that Western Oregon did not go on. Not even close, says Gilmore, as home plate umpire made that call, and we'll check down to third for his opinion, and it will be out number 1. Either way, it brings up Malia Andrews. Leadoff batter, hitting a ridiculous .514 through 21 games so far with Western Washington. Mentioned earlier that she leads the conference with that stat, and that's pretty obvious why. And it's not only just her average, though. 10 doubles, 3 triples, 2 home runs for Andrews. Another pitch misses outside. It's 2-0 to Andrews. And not only does Andrews lead the team in average extra base hits, she also leads them in walks. One of the reasons why she's such a versatile and dangerous leadoff batter. A .595 on base percentage for her. Not often you see those 2 qualities together, as that one's a strike from Abbas. Andrews did reach in her last time to the plate on a catcher's interference. Swung and hit the glove of Emma Cordero back in the bottom of the first. She's also the runner that touched home to make it a 1-0 game on the double play hit into from Andrew Jeske Ramirez. 2-2 the count to Andrews. That's her 21st run that she has scored this season. Abbas delivers with 1 out. Andrews takes it away, and it's a full count. This Vikings team with plenty of young talent. You think about Haley Rath, who's just a junior, and Malia Andrews right there with her, who's just a sophomore. It's ridiculous that this team made it all the way to the College World Series last year. And they returned nearly all of that youth and those power players that really made an impact for them. A 3-2 after the foul ball from Andrews, 1 out. Kennedy Abbas in the circle. Here's her pitch. Andrews takes it low and takes a walk. Her 15th of the season, and she gets on base with 1 out for Connie Patoy.
Second baseman number 15, Connie Patoy.
Patoy, a .302 hitter this year. Last time up, gained herself a base hit. 1 for 1 on the day against Abbas. Went straight up the middle with her chop. High pitch outside. And it is ball 1 to Patoy. Patoy on the other end of the spectrum as far as this team's youth. She's a senior and has been a consistent starter for the last 3 years now with the Vikings at that second base position. 1-0 drops in for a strike. A nice pitch from Abbas. Abbas finds her sign in a 1-1. 1 out with Andrews on first. Patoy at the dish. The pitch to her is ball number 1 outside, or ball number 2 outside, excuse me. Abbas is a transfer from Eastern Arizona College. Last season there, she pitched just over 39 innings, had a .534 ERA. A 2-1. Patoy waits on it, fouls it up towards the first baseman, and into the glove for an easy catch to Carlos. It's out number 2 off the bat of Patoy. Runner will still be on first with Andrews, with Haley Rath coming to the plate. Rath, a .319 hitter. And she's had the first 2 years of her career start about as good as you can get for a player. She was the GNAC Freshman of the Year in 2023. Was the GNAC Player of the Year in 2024. One of the few players to ever receive both honors. Most recent one in Western Washington history was Emily Benson in 2019. The 102 Rath is missed. She's ahead 2-0. Last season, Haley Rath, an all-West region selection on the first team by D2CCA and also on the second team by the NFCA. Even made her way onto the All-American Honorable Mention list. Swings and hits this one hard on a line to left field. It is a foul ball as Rath was early on it. It'll be her first strike off a big swing. With 2 outs, Rath in a 2-1 count. Andrews on first, a 1-0 lead for Western Washington. Abbas pitching now in her 3rd inning of work. She's thrown 68 innings so far this season. It is the most by any pitcher in the conference as Rath fouls another one back. A 2-2 count. Abbas, after surrendering the walk, looks to leave more base runners stranded for Western Washington. The 2-2 pitch is swung on and fouled on the ground, foul by Rath. Abbas in her 2 outings against Central Washington during the 4-0 sweep of the Wildcats. Tossed 2 complete games, gave up just 3 total earned runs, and racked up 11 strikeouts over 2 appearances. Today she surrendered a run, went down as unearned as a 2-2. Is missed, and it's a full count. Andrew Jeske Ramirez on deck for Western Washington. Malia Andrews on first, represented by her walk. A full count pitch from Abbas is swung on and popped into right field. It'll be Gaborielts grabbing it for out number 3, and that's how 3 innings finish here in Bellingham. A 1-0 lead right now for the Vikings. We'll be right back with the 4th inning on Vikings TV.
For the Vikings in the bottom of the 3rd inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We head to the 4th inning. Western Washington 1, Western Oregon 0.
Top of the 4th, Viking Field, Western Oregon University in a Great Northwest Athletic Conference matchup. Doubleheader here today. We have another game following the conclusion of this one. And also a doubleheader tomorrow. Same place, Viking Field. Wolves and Vikings. Right now, a 1-0 lead for the home team. Allie Kimball pitching for them in the circle. Vikings wearing their clean new blue pinstripes. This ball is hit on the first pitch straight to Andrews on a chop, and an easy 5-3 ground out to start us off in the 4th. Isabel Lewis goes down on 1 pitch. Kimball gets it out, and it'll bring up the shortstop, Sydney Conklin. And I mentioned earlier that Western Oregon lost 3 key players. They lost their starting shortstop, starting catcher, and starting pitcher, needing those holes to be filled. Sydney Conklin filling in at shortstop, at least for this game, in her 10th start of the season. Those are some of the 3 worst positions you could lose in an entire season. You lost your ace, your catcher who calls the signs, and your defensive infielder captain, which is usually your shortstop, and the most important position, some would argue. Kimball misses on her first 2 pitches. It's a 2-0 count with 1 out. Western Oregon, though, they're staying afloat and right now at least have a 4-0 conference record. 10-13 overall for the Wolves. Right now behind 1-0 though in the score, but a narrow lead for the Vikings. Inside strike delivered from Kimball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Conklin on her last time to the plate worked a walk. Back when she led off that inning. Takes a strike and now 2-2. Kimball has gone inside on her twice. Two with 1 out. Pitch coming to the junior Conklin. It's a breaking pitch, and it's dropped above the zone for a full count. 3-2. Kimball has now just allowed 9 walks on the season. 26 strikeouts, including the 3 this game, as that is fouled up into the trees. So we'll have to do it again, still in our full count. Conklin last season batted .284, only had 94 at-bats. As another payoff pitch comes to her, and she puts it into center, but a sliding grab from Layla Carpenter. Thought for a second that was going to get down. Carpenter with the smooth slide to grab out number 2.
It does a player. Number 1, Brooklyn Schneider.
Brooklyn Schneider, the designated player, to the plate. Went down on a bunt attempt her last time at the plate. 2 outs in the inning. She swings at the first pitch, hits it into center field on a 1-hopper to Carpenter. This one does get down, and it's a base hit to extend the inning for Western Oregon. Schneider gets her 8th hit of the season. On just 1 pitch, sees it up the middle. And it brings up Lexi Carlos. Carlos, a talented batter sitting in just that 7th spot, could do some damage. But she pops it up instead. A high fly ball into shallow right. Coming in to grab it is Crum as she called off Patoy. And she'll grab the out number 3. 3.5 innings gone here at Viking Field, and Western Washington leads it 1-0. We'll be back with the bottom of the 4th.
Leading off the Vikings, the catcher, number 38, Emma Ramirez.
Bottom of the 3rd inning here on the campus of Western Washington University. It's your Vikings leading the Western Oregon Wolves 1-0. Entering the bottom of the 4th, and it's Emma Andrzejewski Ramirez at the plate. Hit into a double play her last time at the plate. It was a ground ball to the shortstop Sydney Conklin, who made a heads-up play by tagging the advancing runner and then throwing out Andrzejewski Ramirez at first. She came to the dish with the bases loaded. Vikings only ended up getting 1 run home in that inning back in the 1st. Andrzejewski Ramirez, since it was a double play, did not receive the RBI and is 0 for 1 on the day. First pitch was a strike to her, second one a ball, high and outside. 1-1 the count to the catcher. Andrew Jeske Ramirez right now second on the team in average with a .347. She's played in all but 4 games for the Vikings this year. The 1-1. Abbas misses, and now 2-1. Kennedy Abbas entering now her 4th inning of work. 1 run allowed to the Vikings. Has had to deal with a couple of base runners, but has gotten out of most of her jams. Has given up just 2 hits, 1 walk, as this is waited on by Andrew Jeske Ramirez. She hits it down to the second baseman. And an easy 4-3 play made there. Slow roller secured by Roning. And it's the first out. That'll bring up Olivia Matlock. Matlock, the transfer from St. Martin's. 2 years of eligibility left. Hopefully those being played in a Vikings uniform. At least we know this one is. As she fouls it away, strike 1 with 1 out. Matlock taking that first base spot. Needed to fill it with someone. Didn't necessarily have a bench player from last season that we knew could play first base. So the transfer Matlock is able to fill that gap, and she's been great doing it. .290 hitting right now. Has driven in 21 runs, which is the most on the Vikings. In that middle of the order spot, it's exactly what you want from Matlock, the right-handed batter, in a 1-1 count with 1 out right now in the bottom of the 4th. A 1-1 from Abbas. Looked outside by Matlock, ball 2. In 2 seasons at St. Martin's, Matlock combined in those years to hit .257. She has playoff experience as well, playing for a St. Martin's team that has had a couple of trips to the GNAC tournament over the last couple of years. She hits a slow roller back to Abbas and an easy play on a 1-3 ground out. Matlock is retired. 2 outs now in the bottom of the 4th for Paris Delamagori. Delamagori in her last at-bat had some nice swings, but nonetheless, still without a hit. 0-1 on the day. 2 outs. Here's the pitch to her. Delamagori sees it outside. Ball 1. Abbas gets her sign and now delivers her 1-0 pitch. It's below the zone for ball 2. Abbas, we mentioned the transfer from Eastern Arizona. She had 6 starts last year, pitched in 4 complete games, also made 5 bullpen appearances in which she earned 2 saves. That's a ground ball to the third baseman, Lewis. She'll throw across the diamond and get a 5-3 out to end the 4th. Vikings still hold a 1-0 lead. We'll be back with the top of the 5th inning at Viking Field.
We head to the 5th inning. Western Washington 1, Western Oregon 0. Leading off the 5th inning for the Wolves, the catcher number 32, Emma Cordero.
Top of the 5th inning here in Bellingham, Washington. Vikings and Wolves matching up for a doubleheader today and this afternoon. Still 1 more game to come after this one. We're in the top of the 5th right now with a 1-0 lead to the home team, Western Washington. For the Wolves, leading off in the top of the 5th will be Emma Cordero facing off against Allie Kimball, who's gone 4 scoreless innings so far with just 2 hits allowed. That's a foul tip for strike 1 on her first pitch of the 5th. Kimball to this point has thrown 70 pitches, given up 2 walks and struck out 3 of her 16 batters that she has faced. As a pause is taken here, Andrew Jeske Ramirez having some trouble with the catching gear. She'll be good to go. So we resume after a first pitch strike delivered from Kimball, who's had her struggles getting behind batters throughout her first 4 innings, but overall has still limited damage. This one way missed in the dirt. Kimball probably just slipped out of the hand, and it will be an easy take ball for Emma Cordero. Cordero walked her last time up. One of 2 batters that have been given a free pass. It was in the same inning when Kimball walked both. This is going to be a fair ball straight to Matlock at first. And no doubt about the easy out for Matlock that time. So the first out gained on an unassisted first base put out. And it brings up the bottom of the order hitter in Madeline Hommel. Batting 9th as a .262 hitter entering today. Hommel, the lefty, is 0 for 1, struck out in her last at-bat. Takes the first pitch for a ball against Kimball. Hommel, a transfer from North Idaho College to Western Oregon this year. Swings in the air, right side of the field. Crum takes the sprinting catch in. And out number 2 gained. Kimball has worked quickly through her last 2 innings, entering now this one. It's the same thing going for her. 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Minimal pitches thrown by her as Victoria Zimmerman in the top of the order of Western Oregon tries to keep the 5th inning alive. Vikings leading 1-0. Showing bunt but pulled it back. Ball 1 as the pitch missed high and away. And it hasn't been the dominance today that we saw Western Washington have over Western Oregon when they played on the road for 3 games. But the Vikings still ahead by just 1 run, trying to get their 3rd conference win and the first of this doubleheader. That pitch is there for a strike from Kimball, 1-1. Two outs as the lefty Zimmerman stands at the dish. Zimmerman 0 for 2 today. 3rd time through the order as it's fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Zimmerman. Kimball has punched out 3, mainly has relied on her defense to clean it up. The 1-2 from the righty Kimball. It's off speed and it misses high. That's where Kimball's been with that pitch today. Just has not found it. Dropping into the strike zone, trying to get a free strike 3. She can find a way to drop it into the top shelf of that strike zone. She get a lot of Ks. The Wolves are not swinging. A 2-2 is fouled back and over to the left side from Zimmerman. 2 outs, Zimmerman just keeping the inning alive after 2 quick outs to start the 5th. Zimmerman trying to battle with Kimball. This one swung on and fouled again. Similar side from Zimmerman. Is just late on her chops against Kimball. Stays in the 2-2 count. Two outs to the lefty batter. Gaboriel waiting on deck for the Wolves. Kimball delivers her pitch. This is tipped foul left side and out into the bullpen of the Vikings. Another foul ball from Zimmerman, just staying alive against Kimball, who was cruising to start the 5th. Zimmerman has a great eye at the dish. Last season walked 20 times, had an on-base percentage of .428, and we're seeing her ability to fight through a count today. She's currently 2nd on the team in walks, behind only Madeline Hommel, who just got out. Zimmerman has 10 walks, 22 hits for an on-base percentage of .427 this year. Has the speed to steal. If she can reach Right now still a 2-2. Here's the pitch from Kimball. That's swung on this time in play left side. Barkham backing up for it. Into her glove for out number 3. And that's how the top of the 5th ends. Western Oregon still held scoreless. Vikings hold a 1-0 lead when we come back. Bottom 5 here at Viking Field. Your Western Washington Vikings leading the Western Oregon Wolves 1-0 as we enter this 5th inning. Vikings bottom of the order and the 8-9 hitters due up with Andrews waiting in the hole. You'll have Crum, Barkham, and Andrews in the 5th at least. Check that. We have Layla Carpenter, McKenna Crum, and Lexi Barkham here in the 5th. Excuse me. So Carpenter leads things off against Kennedy Abbas and takes a high pitch 1 for ball 1. Still sunny here at Viking Field, but dark clouds looming on the horizon. Trying to avoid the rain. Started about 15 minutes before our scheduled 1 p.m. start time. Who knows what will happen with the weather at least. This is a foul ball way back from Carpenter for strike number 1. Carpenter, the sophomore, batting .311. Saw her make a nice sliding center field grab earlier in the game. Now trying to do it with her bat as the 7-8-9 hitters are up here in the 5th. Trying to add to a 1-0 lead the Vikings hold, but the pitch misses low. Carpenter takes the ball. Layla Carpenter started last season in 14 of the first 16 games, but then turned into a bench option as a pinch runner, defensive substitution, and a pinch hitter. That one misses and goes behind the catcher for the 3rd ball of the at-bat. It's a 3-1 count, 1-0 the score. Vikings leading the Wolves. Carpenter overall last season was a .250 hitter. Picked up 3 doubles and a triple, driving in 5 runs. As a lefty bat option, add something a little bit more dynamic into this starting lineup for Cheryl Gilmore. Taking strike number 2, it's a 3-2 full count to Carpenter. As Kennedy Abbas in the circle has thrown 4 innings with 1 run allowed. It's an unearned run to her. Has walked just 1 batter and only given up 2 hits. Here's the 3-2. Ooh, foul tip off the face mask of the catcher Cordero, but it keeps Carpenter alive. So she'll have to do it over again. Abbas with just 2 strikeouts today. Has thrown 67 pitches through her 4 innings entering this inning. And a 3-2 count right now against the leadoff batter, Carpenter. Carpenter is 0 for 1. Second time to the plate. And the lefty on righty starting us off in the bottom of the 5th. Here's Abbas' delivery and a payoff pitch. It's a breaking one that Carpenter fights off foul. Three and 2, ready to go again as Abbas looks to shut down Carpenter to start the frame. Bottom of the 5th pitch. Here it is, 3-2. Swung on and hit. Straight a diving attempt, but no good. It goes out into center field, and Carpenter has herself a base hit. Nice effort from Conklin to try and get it on the dive, but it was just out the reach of her glove. Just the 3rd base hit for Western Washington, and the first in a while, as Kennedy Abbas has found a little bit of a stride since that shaky 1st inning, but now the Vikings threatening with the runner on. No outs for McKenna Crum. Crum for a second showed bunt, but instead took the ball outside. Also dipped low from Abbas. Vikings' bottom of the order features a stretch of lefties with Carpenter and Crum. You also have Barcombe waiting on deck. She's also a lefty hitter. Thrown out at first after the missed pitch ball 2, but easily back is Layla Carpenter. Emma Cordero just trying to keep her in check. Two balls, no strikes as Abbas comes home to Crum. She shows bunt and just poked at it but got nothing, and instead it's an empty strike. Crum, 262 hitter, has driven in 11 runs on 16 hits. Carpenter, a player that scored 15 runs at first base, as that is a low and away strike called as Abbas paints the bottom corner of the zone against Crum, and it's even 2-2 count. Vikings trying to add to a 1-0 lead. It's not comfortable right now when you're playing a team like Western Oregon in which you beat by over 8 runs in every single game. This is on the ground to the right side. It gets through as the shift was kind of on from the second baseman. Kate Ronian was in and to the right on her defensive stance, and it just traveled past her left into right field, and it's back-to-back base hits for the Vikings. The two lefties, Carpenter and Crum, get on base ahead of the other lefty, Lexi Barcombe. So the senior looks to add to a 1-0 lead as now Abbas is showing some cracks in the bottom of the 5th inning. Carpenter at second. Crum at first. Here's Abbas's pitch. Barcombe showed bunt, pulled it back. Want to be a bad option. Get 2 in scoring position with the lefty Andrews coming up. Seems like so far in this inning, it's been the left-handed hitters that have made a difference against Kennedy Abbas, who was cruising for a little bit there. Strike is called, 1-1. Barcombe in a 1-1. Third baseman Lewis for Western Oregon creeping in slightly in case Barcombe lays it down. The 1-1. Pokes at it but misses the bunt attempt. And strike 2, so Lexi Barcombe will now have to take a swing. A couple of failed tries on a bunt from Western Washington between Crum and Barcombe now. Worst case scenario here for Barcombe would be a double play. A 1-2 as she fouls it away on an outside pitch. Last year, Barcombe, a .267 batter, played in 56 games, making starts in 48 of them. She was a major part of that 17-game winning streak when you look back at it. Barcombe was the player that got hot in the bottom of the order. She fouls off another pitch. During that 17-game winning streak, Barcombe was batting .412 and had 11 runs scored. Trying to find the streakiness here and get this 5th inning rolling for the Vikings, who haven't scored since the 1st. The 1-2. Barcombe doesn't chase it, and it's ball 2. Barcombe got called out on a check swing strikeout her last time to the plate. Was able to pull it back that time, and now in a 2-2 even count. Andrews on deck, runners on first and second in the bottom of the 5th. Another low pitch. Check down to third. She did not go. Barcombe has offered the last 2 times to the low and outside pitch from Kennedy Abbas, who's trying to get an out with 2 on already via base hits for the Vikings in this inning. Here's another pitch. Barcombe fouls it away. It's a full count, excuse me, so 3-2. That foul ball makes the payoff pitch coming again from Abbas. Barcombe 10 hits this season. They've all been just singles. Here's a 3-2. Fouls it away again. Barcombe battling through the long at-bat here between Abbas and her. Umpire refilling on the spare softballs before we get the dramatic finish to this at-bat that Lexi Barkham has battled herself through. 2 singles have put runners on first and second for Western Washington, and now Barkham looks to continue it. No outs in the bottom of the 5th as the pitch comes inside to Barkham. Ball 4, and the bases are juiced for Malia Andrews. Best case scenario, if you're Western Washington, you had your 7, 8, and 9 hitters come to the plate, all reach base in front of your leadoff batter who's batting over 500 entering this game, Malia Andrews. This is Andrews' 3rd trip to the plate. She's reached both times successfully. Reached once on catcher's interference, the other time on a walk. She's the only Viking to touch home plate in that first inning. Now has a chance to do damage with the bases juiced. One thing she's not going to do is chase the pitch to try and make something happen. 2-0 after seeing them both outside the zone. Andrews has the ability to deliver in the moment, but she's not going to force it. She'll take her walk if needed. 2-0 hits this up the middle. It'll be an RBI single at least. 1 run comes in to score. Runner is waved home. The relay there is not in time. Vikings plate 2 on a 2 RBI single from Malia Andrews, and it's a 3-0 lead for Western Washington. Andrews gets it done, and it triples the lead now for Western Washington. No outs in this bottom of the 5th, and it's now 3-0 Western Washington. Andrews ends up scoring Carpenter and Crum. Lexi Barkham stays at second base. It looked for a second that she was going to be easily thrown out, but the relay was just too slow. And 2 runs come across. Andrews now up to 20 runs batted in off of 37 hits this season. Vikings have now put up a crooked number in the bottom of the 5th to go ahead 3-0. They're not finished either. No outs right now with runners on first and second still. Kennedy Abbas still pitching. Connie Patoy at the dish. First pitch miss for ball 1. This has been a worst case scenario for Abbas. You allow the 7, 8, 9 hitters to reach, and now you're facing the dangerous parts of the order. Patoy takes a low outside strike. Patoy, 19 hits, 7 runs batted in. Runner in scoring position is Barkham at second. Breaking ball, strike 2 as Abbas is ahead of a batter. Exactly what she needs here. Needs a double play ball, strikeout, or just an out to try and help her out of this 5th. 2 on and a 1-2. Big time miss for ball 2. Vikings lead 3-0 on the 2 RBI single from Malia Andrews now. Abbas has now given up 2 earned runs in the frame. The first run of the game was unearned to her. That one's in the dirt. Barkham thought about it. Now a throwback to second. Barkham is safe diving back. Lexi Barkham at second base almost got a little bit too aggressive, and that's the thing you don't want to do here. Don't give him a free out. Pitcher is struggling here in this inning. Make her get you out. Patoy hits this in the air. It'll be a blooper out in the left center field. This will at least score 1 as Barkham is going to come home and make it 4-0. Wasn't necessarily hard hit by Patoy, but it was hit well enough, got past the dirt. And it's now 3 runs in the inning for Western Washington with still no outs. And you have a feeling here that Western Oregon and Allie Boytz is going to make a move. She's out talking with the umpire, and we likely are going to see a pitching change here as Kennedy Abbas, who so far this season has gone the complete way in 6 out of her 11 starts, is going to be pulled out of this game, now down 4-0 with 2 runners on that she's responsible for. So now coming in is going to be Alyssa Fulmer, the transfer out of the Academy of Art. Last season there, pitched 98 innings at the Division II level. Here now with Western Oregon. Fulmer is in just her sophomore season, spent 1 year at Academy of Art before transferring. Making just her 9th appearance of the season. It's now her 5th time coming out of the bullpen. And in just 18 2/3 innings, Fulmer has pitched to a 9 ERA. She's allowed 24 earned runs in that time. Western Oregon is trying to stop the bleeding with maybe just a different look, as it's turned into exactly what you would expect. Third time through the order doing the damage against Kennedy Abbas. Vikings in this inning started off with 2 base hits from Layla Carpenter and McKenna Crum. Lexi Barcombe followed it with a walk that loaded the bases for Malia Andrews, who had a 2 RBI single. And then Connie Patoy's RBI single for her 2nd hit of the game gives us the 4-0 lead. You were wondering when the offense was going to break out here for Western Washington after seeing the last couple of games that they played against the Wolves. Mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but overall in those 3 games outscored the Wolves 34-9, so you expected a lot of scoring. Wasn't necessarily that through the first 4-ish innings. Vikings did plate 1, but now the big inning in the 5th. Vikings have brought in 3 and have no outs. 4-0 the score. Here's Fulmer's pitch. Rath hits it on the ground to second base. Could be 2. Throw to second. Over to first. Double play secured for Western Oregon. Exactly what they needed to give her pitcher in Alyssa Fulmer. Is a double play. Rath hits into it. And now 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th. Fulmer a chance to escape after inheriting 2 runners. Now just Malia Andrews sits on 3rd. Andrew Jeske Ramirez at the plate. That pitch misses for ball 1. Two-out pitch misses behind the dish. Andrews is going to take off for home as it hits the backstop. She slides in safely, and a heads-up base running play by Andrews to secure another run. On a mistake from Fulmer, she missed way above her catcher. There was no chance Cordero could try and even catch that or recover it based off how it bounced off the backstop. It's now 5-0 Western Washington. 2-0. Swung on and hit on a line in left center field. Andrew Jeske Ramirez, that ball is going to get up against the wall. She's thinking 2. Here comes the throw in from center field, and it's a stand-up double for Andrew Jeske Ramirez. And this devastating 5th for the Wolves continues. Andrew Jeske Ramirez gets her 5th double of the year. And a runner is in scoring position for Olivia Matlock. And in this inning, 4 earned runs go against Kennedy Abbas. Now the relief pitcher on, and Alyssa Fulmer has given up the double. That one goes in the dirt for ball 1 to Olivia Matlock. The 1-0. That popped into right field, should end the inning, as Gabrielle will secure it. But 4 runs come home for Western Washington, and it's a 5-0 lead heading into the top of the 6th here at Viking Field.
Here at Viking Field, Western Washington 5, Western Oregon 0.
Top of the 6th inning here at Viking Field. It's a 5-0 lead for Western Washington after a 4-run bottom of the 5th. The Vikings now lead Western Oregon by 5, and the Wolves need something to answer. In that bottom of the 5th, Carpenter and Crum both got singles. Barkum got a walk to load the bases, and it brought up Malia Andrews, who plated 2 on a 2 RBI single from Malia Andrews. Then Connie Petoy followed that right back up with an RBI single of her own, forcing to the departure of Kennedy Abbas out of this game. Alyssa Fulmer came in, delivered a pitch that was wild, and it scored Andrews, making it now 5-0. Kimball able to fan the batter for strike number 2. At the plate is Aaliyah Gaborilt. Gaborilt in an 0-2 count. Kimball back out for the 6th, pitching scoreless right now. That one goes high and outside for ball 1. Kimball so far through 5 innings, 83 pitches, 2 hits allowed, 2 walks allowed, and 3 strikeouts. Holding now a comfortable 5-0 lead after just being up by 1 for most of this contest. That's a foul ball swung on and hit by Gaborilt. She'll stay in a 1-2 count. Gaborilt 0 for 2 with a strikeout today. This is game 1 of a doubleheader here at Viking Field for this Thursday afternoon. Fouled back again by Gaborilt, and she stays alive. This game was moved to Thursday to try and avoid some weekend rain. Clouds have started to roll in here in Bellingham. Still a patch of sun we're sitting in here at Viking Field as that's swung on and fouled again by Gaborilt. Kimball so far today has not found the strikeout pitch, as Western Oregon has done a nice job fighting off through some at-bats. That being said, they still haven't found success offensively, having just 2 hits in the whole game so far. That's another foul ball. Got jammed off the inside of that from Gaborilt, and it stays 1-2. Now the Kimball this season a 5-2 record, right now ahead 5-0. In line for number 6 on the year if the Vikings defense and pitching holds up. Here's another 1-2. This one breaks above the zone and a miss for ball 2. Two as Kimball gets the sign. Here's her pitch. Way inside and actually got a piece of Gaborilt. So after being ahead 1-2, a couple of foul balls extended the at-bat for Gaborilt, and she reaches on a hit by pitch. That's just the 5th batter that Kimball has hit. She went inside on the lefty bat and gives up the free base to first now. Western Oregon looking for a bounce back inning after giving up 5. Total runs now 4 in the 5th. They need some offense to punch back to the Vikings. First pitch taken high for ball 1. Kate Roning, the second baseman, turned a nice double play during that 5th inning that helped Alyssa Fulmer get out of that sticky situation the Vikings were ready to do. They had no outs with 2 runners on still when the pitching change happened. Roning puts this into right field. Crum comes in. Petoy had to dive out of the way as the two communicate last second and avoid a collision. But they get the out nonetheless. Crum and Petoy have had a couple of run-ins like that this game where just shallow balls hit to their direction. And nice job by Crum to call her off and get the play for out number 1. Runner on first, 1 out for Isabel Lewis, the third baseman. Gaborilt, as Andrew Ramirez was checking on her at first. Gaborilt can steal. She's 8 for 8 this year. Western Oregon not overly aggressive on the base paths. Throw down to first this time after the pitch. Tag is not in time. Just trying to keep Gaborilt in check. But a 2-0 count to the batter, Isabel Lewis. Lewis leads the team in runs batted in with 14. the cleanup spot. Here's a 2-0. Hard foul ball to the right side on late swing. 2-1. Lewis today 0 for 2. In a game so far where there's 2 walks, 2 hits, and 1 hit by pitch are the only things. And that one actually came inside on Lewis, and it hit her as well. So Kimball, a little bit of a loss of command as she's hit the last 2 batters, and it's going to force a time to be called. Vikings are going to meet in the circle as there's 1 out and 2 runners on. This is the inning that Western Oregon needs to try and answer back. Vikings on the other side of things are trying to get that shutdown inning, get their bats right back out there. As Western Washington at the plate has at least found something positive over the last inning. Western Oregon seeming to follow that up now with 2 on, although haven't necessarily done it with their bats. They're just getting hit by Kimball. So we'll see how Allie Kimball responds with 2 on now with 1 out. It'll be Sydney Conklin, the shortstop, at the plate. This is a player that has reached once today in an 0 for 1 day. She's been walked.
Shortstop, Sydney Conklin.
Conklin has just 8 hits on the year, just 4 runs batted in off of those. Has a runner in scoring position, a runner on first, 1 out. In the top of the 6th, 5-0 lead for Western Washington. First pitch strike for Kimball. Nicely delivered and an aptly timed for Kimball as she needs a good out here after hitting the last 2 batters. The 0-1. Bunt being shown, pulled back. And Andrew Jeske Ramirez gonna throw down to second. Walked back. Was trying to walk back the runner in Gaporiot. Just threw it because why not? Gaporiot wasn't going back to second, so Andrew Jeske Ramirez just wanted to keep her in check. It is a 1-1 count after the pitch missed. The sign that time was at least bunt for Sydney Conklin with 1 out. Trying to get 2 in scoring position maybe. This time she's free swinging on the ground to second base. Gets through the glove of Patoy. Runner gonna head home. Here's the throw, cut off by Matlock. And it'll be first and second. Western Oregon on the board with their first run of the game. It was gonna be a tough play for Patoy. It'll go down as a base hit, and it will be an RBI for Western Oregon and for Sydney Conklin. So Conklin gets just her 5th run batted in of the season on her 9th hit on a base hit towards the right middle of the infield. Wasn't necessarily a fast hit ball on the ground, but it was still hit well enough out of the direction of Patoy where a dive could not save it. And it's 5-1. 2 on with 1 out. Kimball has allowed the earned run. That swung on and popped into right field. Crum will come in to get it. No tag up as it'll still be first and second with 2 outs. Much needed out by Allie Kimball as she forces the fly out. So there's 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Lexi Carlos at the plate has 12 hits on the year, but just 4 runs batted in. 2 runners on in a 5-1 game. Here's the 2-out pitch from Kimball. Breaking ball, strike 1. Gained by Allie Kimball. So Western Oregon, after surrendering 4 in the bottom of the 5th, have come back with at least 1 in the 6th. Still need a little bit more, but Allie Kimball has hit 2 batters in this inning and now given up the RBI single. This is hit on the ground to Haley Rath on the left side. The shortstop will throw to first and get out number 3. 1 run comes across for the Wolves, but it's still a 5-1 lead for Western Washington when we come back in the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the sixth inning here at Viking Field. It's a 5-1 lead for Western Washington. Western Oregon was able to come across with 1 run in the top of the frame. Vikings scored 4 in the bottom of the 5th and now have the big lead, and a fresh inning for Alyssa Fulmer out of the bullpen for Western Oregon relieved Kennedy Abbas midway through the 5th as Paris Delamagori check swings on strike number 1, and she did go, says the first base umpire. Tom Heaton behind the dish right now in game 1 of this doubleheader. Alan Moore at first, Josh Francis at third. Here's the 0-1, Delamagori, a fly ball. Left field, and Zimmerman will get it easily. Delamagori goes down with the fly out to left. It brings up the part of the order that did the damage in the bottom of the 5th as far as getting on base and setting up the top of the order to do well. Layla Carpenter had a base hit to start the bottom of the 5th and then eventually came around to score, as the string of lefties will be up now for Western Washington. 4 straight batters will be left-handed hitters here, facing off against the reliever Alyssa Fulmer. Fulmer did allow a run to score in the 5th inning, but it was an inherited runner that scored on her wild pitch. She will not be credited against it with the earned run, at least. So in the game, all 5 runs going against Kennedy Abbas, 4 of them earned. A 2-0 count to Layla Carpenter. Pitch misses high and away, and it's a 3-0. Carpenter did it with her bat the last time at the plate, but could work a walk with just 1 out, has Crum behind her and Barcombe in the hole. Strike taken high in the zone. So when you're looking at Kennedy Abbas's start, she goes 4 innings, could not get an out in that 5th. Pitches 99 pitches, gives up 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 2 walks, and strikes out 2 batters. In line for a loss as his hit on the ground to Carpenter took a weird spin off the dirt, but corralled and gained by Lexi Carlos for the 2nd out of the inning. Kenna Crum will come in with 2 outs, trying to extend the bottom of the 6th in game 1 of this doubleheader. The penultimate inning here at Viking Field in game number 1 of our doubleheader. Crum hits this on a slap attempt, took 1 hop, and then a throw to first from Conklin is easily grabbed. Out number 3. A quick bottom of the 6th brings us to the 7th. Kiana Kong set to come in for the Vikings when we come back.
Heading to the top of the 7th inning, Western Washington 5, Western Oregon 1.
Top of the 7th inning here at Viking Field, a 5-1 lead for Western Washington University, leading Western Oregon. And we have the closer out of the bullpen coming into the game. It's Kiana Kong, the ERA leader for Western Washington, 194 in 36 innings pitched. Kong comes in and relieves Allie Kimball, who leaves 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run in 102 pitches. She gave up 3 hits and 2 walks while striking out 3 Wolves. Kong comes in, not a save opportunity. She has just 1 save on the year, but looks to still secure the win for Allie Kimball after exiting now through 6 innings. That one swung on the first pitch, straight to second base, gloved by Petoy on a nice play to her left for out number 1. This is game 1 of a doubleheader. Game 2 will start around 30 minutes after the conclusion of game 1, pending any crazy rain. It is sprinkling lightly here at Viking Field. Forecast said it would come around 3 p.m., but not last very long, and it was a very slim chance of rain, so we'll just have to see what happens. Bunt being shown at first, but then the pitch is in the low side of the strike zone for strike 1. That's just how softball goes, at least for the first 2 months of the season up here in the Pacific Northwest. Games are going to get rained out. We don't have a full turf field. We got real dirt here at Western Washington University. It's a good thing, but also has its bad parts at times. Strike 2 as Kong has come out of the bullpen, dealing strikes with ease. 1 easy out on a pitch, and now an 0-2 count. Madeline Hommel at the plate, checks at it. Did she go? Oh, they say she didn't. Was trying to get the slap hit, and for a second thought they were going to ring her, but they don't. Kana Kong has 30 strikeouts in 36 innings, a 3-0 record with 15 appearances out of the bullpen. The 1-2 with 1 out. Top of the 7th. Here's Kong's pitch, missed outside and low. Kong last season, her first with the Vikings, was part of the all GNAC second team, but after how she played during the postseason, was named to the all West Region first team by D2CCA. Was also an All-American honorable mention, as this is fouled off the inside of the bat of Hommel, and it's still a 2-2 count. Kong ended up making 44 relief appearances for the Vikings last year. She actually did make 2 starts as well. Overall had a 16-1 record in 130 innings, and she led the Vikings with her 1.39 ERA. It was a remarkable season for this right-handed pitcher. 2-2 is fouled away again by Hommel at the dish, and it will remain even. She came out of the bullpen for 11 saves, which was a program and GNAC record in a season. But when it comes to Western Washington, she is already atop the program for career saves with just those 11 that she had last year. The 2-2. Fouled again by Hommel as she just keeps fighting away these pitches from Kong. Not taking full swings at it. They're just slapping check swings. She's trying to avoid being that second out here in the 7th. Victoria Zimmerman in the top of the order, waiting on deck for Madeline Hommel in this 2-2 at-bat. Here's a pitch from Kong. Taken high for ball 3, and Hommel has worked herself into a full count on a nice at-bat here with 1 out in the 7th. Western Oregon trying to hold on to any life here in game number 1. 2 outs needed for Kong, and a 5-1 lead for Western Washington. Here's the payoff pitch in the full count. Hit softly right back to the pitcher. She had to come in to get it. Kong will not throw in time, as that was just a weak hit, almost like a swinging bunt that it laid down. Just died in the dirt, and no chance for Kong or Andrew Jeske Ramirez to get that. And it'll be a base hit. So the Wolves keeping it alive for the top of the order. Runner on first for Victoria Zimmerman, the hits leader for the Wolves, entering today in the leadoff spot. Here's Kong's pitch with 1 out. It's taken low for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch from Kong. Throw down to first after the strike, but diving back safely is Hommel. Hommel has speed, 6 stolen bases, has not been caught this year. 1-1 count at the plate for Victoria Zimmerman. Kong looking to finish this game with a victory. Vikings put 4 runs up in the 5th. They hold that 5-1 lead. Strike called for number 2, 1-2. Wolves were able to answer back with a run in the top of the 6th, but Kong looks to close the door on any offensive late rally hopes for Western Oregon. Kong is the ERA leader in the GNAC entering today. That's just fouled away by Zimmerman. Has not found the ability, though, against these last 2 batters to get that strikeout pitch to end the at-bat. And it will be 1-2 against Zimmerman. Kong in her first inning of work looks to finish it off. Here's a 1-2. Zimmerman takes ball number 2 as that dropped out of the glove of Andrew Jeske Ramirez, but staying at first is Madeline Hommel. Kong at one point last season pitched 25 2/3 innings scoreless in a row. It was across 8 appearances for about a month between the start of February and March. She can go on stretches where she is untouchable, and she forces the swing and miss from Zimmerman for out number 2 in the 7th. And the Vikings a chance to close things out here against the final batter, potentially Aaliyah Gorbiel. Runner on first still for the Wolves with 2 outs. Gabriel takes ball number 1 as the utility right fielder in this game, trying to save game number 1. Wolves will need a whole lot to do against a player in Kana Kong that does not give up runs easily. A 1-0 pitch from Kong. Swung on and tipped foul for strike 1. A reminder, this is a doubleheader between the Wolves and the Vikings. We're set to have a potential game 2 here at Viking Field this afternoon. Kong looks to send us into that break with a runner on first and a 1-1 count. Vikings lead 5-1. Pitch down for a strike in the middle, and they caught the runner. Matlock went to swipe tag instead. Now the runner does take the base. Matlock was in auto tag mode as she spun around, and there was no one there to tag. And instead, it'll be a stolen base for Madeline Hommel, her 7th of the year. And she is still yet to be caught. Didn't take off initially, took off once she saw the throw. It was just a good base running play. So 1-2 with a runner in scoring position. Kong doesn't even need to worry about that runner, with the Vikings leading by 4. Just needs to get this out. Here's her pitch. Chopped down to Andrews. Andrews the first, and she gets it for out number 3. Western Washington 5-1. They take it over the Western Oregon Wolves. So we'll be back with a doubleheader here from Viking Field, but a 4-run 5th leads to a 5-1 win for Western Washington. Kimball earns the win. It'll be her 6th of the season, and the loss goes against Kennedy Abbas. It'll be her 7th of the year. Game 2 coming up next here at Viking TV after a short break. We'll be back.
Please relocate to the seat. Line up to the second game for Western Oregon, leading off Victoria Zimmerman. Playing second in right field, Aaliyah Boralt. Sorry about that. Playing third at second base, number 2, Kate Romney. Batting cleanup at first base, number 20, Isabel Lewis. Doesn't third, batting fifth, number 27, Jenna Bixler. Batting sixth at third base, number 1, Brooklyn Scheid. Shortstop, batting 7, number 12, Lauren Mauer. Batting 8th at catcher, number 33, Hope Kodak. And center field, number 24, Madeline Hummel. Pitching for the Wolves, number 6, Abby Stansberry. Defensive lineup for the Vikings in right field, McKenna Crum. In center field, Layla Carpenter. In left field, Lexi Barton. At third base, Malia Andrews. At shortstop, Haley Rath. At second base, Connie Katoy. At first base, Olivia Matlock. The battery in the circle, senior from Hawaii, Joey Baker. And catching, Paris Delamagore.
This is game 2 of our doubleheader here at Viking Field, Western Oregon, Western Washington. It was a 5-1 win for the Vikings in game number 1. And now Joey Baker dealing in the circle for the Vikings, and a swing and miss from Victoria Zimmerman. Wolves went down and now have lost their first conference game of the year, 4-1 overall in the GNAC games. Vikings are 3-2 against conference opponents. Western Oregon now 10-14 overall. Vikings sit at 16-7. Western Washington is the number 11 team in the top 25 poll, entering this set of doubleheaders against Western Oregon. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow as well, looking for a Thursday sweep over the Wolves with a victory today, and they have Joey Baker in the circle working for them. A 2.33 ERA for Baker. has made 11 appearances this year. As that ball is taken for ball number 2. You have Baker dealing in the circle in her 12th start. She's 5-5 overall and has gone the complete game way twice this season. 2-2 is the count with Baker. Zimmerman at the plate. It's taken high, and it's a full count. In the last matchup, Allie Kimball earned the victory in the 5-1 win for Western Washington. Kimball now sits at a 6-2 record on the season. And the loss went against Kennedy Addis. Payoff pitch from Baker. Zimmerman chops at it, and she's struck out for the first out of the game in the top of the first inning. Baker gets her 45th strikeout of the season. Up to this point, has pitched 51 innings. Baker is a player that last season we saw Allie Kimball and Kong usually split games. Baker on the other side being the lengthy complete game pitcher, but with Kong just pitching in the 7th, don't rule her out of this doubleheader as well. We've seen all from Allie Kimball that we will see today. She'll play tomorrow in a start, either game 1, you'd assume game 1, but maybe game 2. 0-1 off the foul ball from Western Oregon's Alaya Gaboriels. Starting in right field once again for the Wolves. Lineups looking very similar for each side. Right now for Western Oregon, the only changes, Isabel Lewis switches over to first base. That's because filling her spot at third is Brooklyn Schneidt. Jenna Bixler is in the lineup now as the designated player, where we saw Schneidt in game number 1. And Lauren Maurer is now at short. Hope Bodak takes the catching duties for the Wolves. Western Washington, it's the exact same lineup that you saw in game number 1. That led to the 5-1 victory. 2-1 is the count. Joey Baker against Gaboriels. 1 out, top of the first. Here's Baker's pitch. Swung on and missed. Baker fanning some of these Wolves so far early. It's a 2-2 count with their second strike of the at-bat. Gaboriels leads the Wolves in strikeouts with 14. Average now at 275. Here's the 2-2. Chopped on the ground. Haley Rath up a couple of hops. Throws to first. Matlock with the squeeze of the glove for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Western Oregon Wolves in inning number 1. It'll bring up the second baseman, Kate Roning. Starting again at second base after making the appearance in game number 1. Roning the righty bat against the righty arm of Baker, and that's a big miss from Joey Baker. Way high and away. Kate Roning, a former All-GNAC first-team selection in 2024. And her pop has kind of come alive in 2025. She has 2 home runs on the season after not having that amount through her first couple of years with Western Oregon. That's a called strike against her. Roning in her senior season entered it just having 1 total career home run, and she's hit 2 this year. Righty bat not known for power in a 1-1. Here's 2 outs. The pitch from Baker taken inside, and it's a ball. Ball number 2, says Alan Moore behind the dish. Josh Francis moves to first base for this game. Tom Heaton moves from behind the plate to third base for your umpires today. Western Oregon, the red tops, black bottoms. Vikings in their pinstripe blues. Fouled away at the plate from Roning. Last year was Roning's best career year. Batted .311 in 135 at-bats. Kind of got back to what she set as a freshman after having a down sophomore slump. 2-2, jammed her up and back foul. It will remain the even count. Roning in 2023 played in only just 19 games. Question if she was potentially dealing with an injury back then, because as a freshman she hit .264. After starting just 50 games in that freshman season, went all the way down to that total of 19, and ever since she's resumed her spot as the premier second baseman for Western Oregon. 2-2 from Baker. Roning fouls it to the right side. Matlock towards the dugout of the Wolves, and it ends up into the dugout of Western Oregon. Out of play. It'll stay 2-2. Joey Baker in her senior season for Western Washington. An all GNAC honorable mention last year. That swung on and hit in the air to left field. Barcombe near the foul line will grab it for out number 3, and that's how it goes. 1-2-3 in the first for Joey Baker. Wolves are scoreless. We'll be back with the bottom of the first at Viking Field. Bottom of the first inning here at Viking Field, Western Washington and Western Oregon in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Game 1 was a 5-1 victory for Western Washington, and now Malia Andrews, who played a large role in that win, is set to lead us off. Andrews went 1 for 1 at the plate, reaching every single time she came to the plate. And she takes the first pitch for a strike. She reached on a catcher's interference at her first appearance. She then walked, and her third time up, she got a 2 RBI single in the 5th inning. That helped put the Vikings ahead by enough, where the 1 run later scored by the Wolves did not matter. And the lefty Andrews now batting .521. She takes the ball outside, ball 1. .521 is Andrews batting, getting a hit in over half of her appearances to the plate. It's just ridiculous what she has done to start this year. She had a great freshman campaign. She wasn't the GNAC Freshman of the Year, and maybe that little fire in her Andrews, because she's coming for that Player of the Year at this point. That ball missed badly from the pitcher, Abby Stansberry, getting the start for Western Oregon today. This is her 6th start of the season, 13th appearance overall. She's thrown a complete game 3 times this year, and overall in 45 innings, she has a .544 earned run average. Batters are hitting .323 against Stansberry, so the Vikings will look to do damage here in Game 2. The 1-1 pitch to Andrews, misses outside, and it's ball 2. Stansberry is a transfer for the Wolves from Eastern Nazarene College. Her 2-1 pitch to Andrews. Taken low, ball 3. Three and 1 the count. No outs to the leadoff bat, Malia Andrews, looking to get things started, cracking it open for the Vikings. She swings, big hack at it, but it goes foul for strike 2, and now a full count to Andrews. For Stansberry in the circle, last season at Eastern Nazarene College, pitched 88 2/3 innings, had a .474 ERA, with a .174 walks plus hits in innings pitched. A payoff pitch to Andrews. Andrews, opposite way, gets the base hit into left field. Zimmerman will grab it. Andrews is going to try and hustle for a second. The relay to 2 is not in time. Andrews hesitated on her way to the second base, but still ended up with the double, and it's a leadoff double for Andrews, her 11th of the season. Zimmerman for a second bobbled it out in left field, and I don't blame Andrews for trying for 2 at that point. You thought the hesitation was going to cost her, and a slow relay by the Wolves gives the extra base to Andrews. Her 38th hit of the year. And it's now Patoy, who had an RBI single as well back in that 5th inning during Game 1. Now with the runner in scoring position, Patoy takes a pitch low and inside for ball 1. You have Hope Bodak blocking behind the plate now as the catcher. Patoy overall went 2 for 3 in game number 1 with an RBI. He's the only Viking with multiple hits in the first game. Strike called, 1-1. Vikings scored 1 run in the first on a Emma Andrzejewski Ramirez double play ball that Malia Andrews scored on after she had reached on the catcher's interference. The 1-1 Patoy fights it off foul. Strike 2 as she was late on her swing. Patoy picked up her 21st hit of the year and 20 and 21st hit of the year in game number 1. Has 8 runs batted in. Runner in scoring position is Andrews, who's touched home plate 22 times this year. The 1-2 is fouled away by Patoy, another late chop. As Abby Stansberry has already given up a base hit in her outing, looking for her first out in the bottom of this first inning. A 4-2 record in the circle for Stansberry entering this matchup against Western Washington. The 1-2 pitch, big miss high for ball number 2, and we're even. Malia Andrews has the speed on second if Patoy can get this into the grass. A 2-2. Just tips it foul, and a nice battle from Patoy. Andrews has stolen 4 bags. It's the second most by any Viking this year. Obviously not going to steal third in this situation, but she has the speed around third and hopefully head home if Patoy can put a ball in play past the infield. Stansberry looks to avoid that. Here's a 2-2. Patoy again just fights it away as the battle continues. We saw Western Oregon and Western Washington both in game number 1 have some great at-bats at the plate, and it's just so frustrating as a pitcher when you're up there and you can't find a way to get them out. You've been sitting at 2 strikes, and it seems like everything you throw, they're not putting in play, but they're also not missing. This one is in play down the third base line. A fair ball gets into the corner. Andrews is going to score. Patoy goes to second. She's got to stand up. RBI double, and the Vikes are on the board in the first already. Back-to-back games, Western Washington plates a run in the first inning, and it's 1-0 Western Washington. And who else but Connie Patoy? What a Thursday she's having. Her 3rd hit of the day, and we're just getting started in game 2. And another RBI for Patoy as well. That's her 4th double on the year, 9th run batted in. Haley Rath will be at the plate with no outs and a runner on second. Ball number 1 misses to Rath. Haley Rath was held to just 1 hit, had some opportunities to drive in runs early in the game. Could not come up with it, but did end up 1 for 3 on the day. Was left on base once during that hit that she had. Outside strike given. Rath with addition, a 1-1. Andrews touches home for the 23rd time this year. The leadoff batter facilitates offense when she gets on base. As Rath sees the breaking ball drop below the zone. Good eye for ball 2. Stansberry has already allowed her 36th earned run of the season in her 46th inning as a Wolf, her first year with Western Oregon. The entire pitching staff for Western Oregon is different in 2025 than it was in 2024. No returners. This one's hit up the middle by Rath. This might score 1-2. They'll hold the runner, though, as a long throw comes in. Rath will head to second on the toss, so it's a single advance to 2 with Patoy playing it safe, staying at third. Vikings looking to have a big inning. Didn't want to risk giving the out, so Patoy will stand at second. Andrzejewski Ramirez set to come to the plate. Andrzejewski Ramirez went 1 for 3 in game number 1. Catching again is now with no outs. There's 2 in scoring position. Wolves are going to take a chance to talk with their starting pitcher, Abby Stansberry, as Western Washington looks to put up a big first inning. This looks a whole lot like game 1 where the Vikings didn't come through in that first inning. You had the bases loaded. Andrzejewski Ramirez at the plate. She hit into a double play, and it saved the Wolves from potentially a dangerous first. She looks to avoid something here. That is similar to that last first inning with 2 on in scoring position. Andrew Jeske Ramirez takes ball 1. First base is open here, so wouldn't be surprised if Stansbury tries to dance around the power hitting Andrew Jeske Ramirez, throwing outside. The catcher loves those inside pitches, and if she gets one, she might crush this ball. Stansbury needs to be cautious. That'll be a high fly ball into right center field. It might be deep enough. The catch is made by Gaboriel. Here comes the throw in. The run will easily score. And the Vikings lead it 2-0 on the sac fly by Andrew Jeske Ramirez. Did her job and plated a run. Vikings up 2-0 with just 1 out now in the first. Runner on third. Rath also advanced on the fly out. So Olivia Matlock with an RBI chance. She's the team leader in runs batted in. Has just 1 more than Malia Andrews after Andrews picked up 2 RBI in the first game. Matlock takes a high ball 1 above the numbers and gets ahead in the count. Biggest hit in that first game came from Malia Andrews, and already Vikings have had some nice swings in this first inning after slow offense for the most part. And umpire is going to chat it over. Not sure here. Oh, there's thunder. So there is thunder rumbling here, and that's going to have to suspend the game at least, because so that is going to send us into a 30-minute break. A lightning strike going off south of Viking Field. So the first inning was thunderous for Western Washington, and it was maybe a little bit too much of it, because now we're going to step away for 30 minutes. We'll be back, though, here at Vikings TV, hopefully to finish this game off. Vikings up 2-0. We'll see you in about 30 minutes with a lightning delay here at Viking Field.
I didn't see this, right? Yeah, apparently he saw it. Yeah, the guy saw it. I was like, oh, okay. Where can we send West? Second, third? Which locker room can we put them in? Yeah, like you guys are gonna pull the carpet off. Steve's here. Oh, he's right. Yeah.